In 2012, two families left the city along with the conveniences of modern American living. Today, our family has decided to live in the mountains of the American Ozarks to build for themselves a more sustainable and fulfilling lifestyle.
We are an American Homestead!
This week on An American Homestead, trucks and tractors. We take a look at what helps make the workload of the American homesteader lighter than those in the past. Plus, Joann makes something special from last year's county fair. Thanks for watching, and be sure to visit us online at anamericanhomestead.com.
With a lot of the ribbons that we got last year, and first I glued them all on with fabric glue, and then I stitched over with the sewing machine. I took all the ribbons apart and tried to arrange them in a pleasing arrangement. I used some fabric glue and stitching, and got the pillow put all together, and I had to stitch the end of the pillow by hand, but I thought it came out better than I thought it would. I had some ribbons left over, but they didn't all come together the same as the other ones, so I had to make up a new arrangement. But I think it came out pretty well, and I got it all pinned on and ready to adhesive to the backing. When I get finished, it'll look like this. This isn't all attached yet.
In the past, homesteaders have mostly used beasts of burden to achieve the upper hand when it came to heavy chores. Oxen, mules, and teams of horses made hard work into lighter work for farmers and field workers. With the invention of the tractor by John Fralick in 1890 and the invention of the automobile around the same time frame, the hard work of the farmer and the homesteader was about to get easier. You know, there's a lot of homesteaders who still like to use teams of mules and horses to do their work. And that's neat. I mean, that's really authentic. However, there are some people who have ridiculed us for not being authentic and not using horses and teams of mules or oxen to do our work here around our homestead. And I guess the way I look at that is this. You know, I have an axe, and the axe is meant to cut down a tree. It'll work. However, I also have this chainsaw, and it'll work too, and it'll afford me the opportunity to get the job done that much quicker. And so I'm going to use the chainsaw. I have the axe, and it works, but this also works, and it gets the job done quicker. And so that's how I look at trucks and tractors. You can use teams of horses and teams of mules and oxen, but you also have a tractor, and you have trucks that you can also get the job done with and get it done quicker. This is our Massey 165. It is the workhorse of the homestead. We use this for all sorts of things. We purchased this right when we moved out to the homestead. It was one of the first things we purchased because, you know, we've been told and we knew just from doing our research on homesteading and what we were getting ourselves into that you need, if you have any sizable amount of land, you know, more than an acre or two, you're really going to need a tractor to help you work that land and make it as productive as possible. So one of the first things we got was a tractor. We got this Massey Ferguson from a guy who was using them to take down old chicken barns, and he wanted something different, and so he was trading this one in. And he said, I really hate to see it go. And, you know, people tell you that when they're trying to sell you something. You know, it's a really good tractor, you know, I really hate to see it go. And, you know, and I saw the guy later, and he said he really regretted selling it because the tractor he bought was not near as good as this one, and he bought a much newer model. And it was true. I mean, I came out one winter. I hadn't started it for 6 months, and it was 20 degrees outside, and it started right up. he said this is the easiest starting tractor you're ever going to have. It sips diesel, real slow. You're going to get great mileage out of it, great time, great gas time out of it. And so it's been awesome. It really does sip the gas or sip the diesel really slow, and it starts up every time you want to start it up. I've never had a problem starting this up, other than the one time, the starter went out. So I had to replace that, or get a refurbished one. But this has been a really great tractor. Massey Ferguson, I believe this was made back in 1974. It's a 165. It's a 50 horsepower tractor. And it also runs the PTO, runs the sawmill that we have on the homestead. And so we use it for that as well. We have used this to take down brush. We use it to haul down trees, or haul trees out of the forest. We use it for cultivating. We have a cultivator for it. We use it for brush hogging on the homestead. We have lots of fields where we need to go over and brush hog and keep the brush down to a minimum, keep it mowed down nice. And so this does all of that and more. There's just so many things, so many reasons why you as a homesteader are going to need a tractor. And this is one, I'm very happy with it. There's lots of good tractors out there. I would definitely recommend, if you're going to buy one and if you can afford it, and used ones there's good used tractors out there. You don't have to go out and buy something new, but try to find something that's at least a 40 horsepower, 50, recommended, a 50 horsepower tractor. Diesel, go for a diesel. And so that would be my recommendation. Today, what we're going to do is go and give this thing an oil change. It's time for an oil change, so we're going to go do that today. I'll walk you through how we're going to do that. And yeah, this is our Massey. We love it. So we have our bucket. That's what we're going to be using to catch the oil. We have some oil. We have new filter. We have some latex gloves there, and my tool kit there that I keep for the tractor and my truck. And then a shop rag. And so the little drip pan or oil pan release is right down here, and so I'll take that out, and the filter is on the other side of the tractor. So first things first, let's go ahead and drain that oil pan. Okay, yeah, there we go, it's loose. Oil is gonna flow here pretty good. And there we go. And it's draining. So let that drain for a second. Now, some people like to save, use motor oil for different things. What we're going to do with this motor oil, in fact, I have a neighbor down the road who actually uses used motor oil, diesel motor oil, or car engine motor oil, and uses it for bar oil on his chainsaw. I don't do that, but I'm thinking about using this for some of the wood that is the frame of our sawmill. Wait till we have a good few sunny days in a row, and then use a paintbrush to brush that oil on that wood to help preserve the wood. A lot of people around here do that to preserve wood for things that they have outside quite a bit, that you'll use your old used motor oil to help preserve that wood. And so I think we're going to do that with this used oil. Okay, so here's the new filter. Pop that open. There's the new filter, some seals. Pretty simple. Okay, so here's the filter container. Let's go ahead and unscrew that. Bucket over, because there's going to be some oil coming out of there. It's going to get a little messy. Oh, it wasn't as bad as I thought. Use a shop rag, wipe that off. Dropping in the new filter, like that. The seal up here looks okay. I'm not going to replace it unless I have to, unless it comes back and starts leaking. But I think it's fine. I'll just leave it there. I'll wipe it real clean so that there is a leak that comes out of this, I'll be able to see it pretty easy. But I think we're going to be in good shape. Okay, that's about done dripping. Let's go ahead and replace this. Give it one final wipe down, so that way I can see if there's anything leaking later on. But yeah, looks good. And finally what we'll do is go ahead here, and if I can get that open. Oh, there we go. Add this new oil. All right, we'll check our engine levels. All right, where we need to be at max. Very good. So that's our Massey. Makes homesteading a lot easier. So these are our Homestead trucks. Starting from this end, this is our Toyota pickup. It's basically a Hilux 1982 Toyota. We have a Ford F-150. It's a rear-wheel drive. And then we have a Chevy Silverado 1500 that is four-wheel drive. You have to have, I mean, you don't have to have a pickup to, work a homestead, but it really makes it a lot easier. I mean, you're hauling hay, you're pulling trailers, you need something that's a truck. I mean, you just do. And I know a lot of people, I don't know, there's some people out there who may not agree. That's fine. I'm not a Toyota guy. I'm not a Chevy guy. I want my truck to work guy. And, since we've got out here, Tim bought his truck first. When we first moved out here, it's a rear wheel vehicle. And so there has been times where it's gotten into trouble. And so I think he's probably thinking about trading this in sometime soon for a used four-wheel drive truck. He bought his truck used. It's a 2010. And it's a good truck, but we need four-wheel drive here on the homestead. You got to have four-wheel drive. The Toyota is a four-wheel drive vehicle, and it does everything that we need it to. It does. It hauls hay. It'll pull a trailer. It will. It hauls water for us. Right now, there's a water tank in the back. The water tank is usually in the back of the truck. And we use it as a fire truck. We've even done videos on doing fire drills with this truck in case there was a fire on the homestead somewhere. We are about an hour, at least 30 minutes to an hour away from any fire assistance. And so if something does catch on fire, we're going to need to be able to put it out ourselves. There's a 950 gallon per minute water pump inside the back of the truck, and it's connected up to a 275 gallon IBC tote. And so if we need to, we've timed ourselves on getting this truck filled up and on to location. Usually about 5 minutes it takes to get this thing filled up and on location somewhere on the homestead. And so we did that before. We've done videos on it before. And so it's our fire truck. It goes everywhere on the homestead we need it to go, and it just does so much for us. I've seen a lot of guys out there who will talk about getting one of these all-terrain vehicles that seat like 3 or 4 people, and they're like expensive, like really expensive, like $10,000, or like, why would you buy that when you can go on Craigslist and buy a Hilux for $2,000 or $1,500, and the thing will last forever. Yeah, the oil leaks, but this engine will last forever. There's a reason why you turn on the news on CNN and you see the Mujahideen in Afghanistan driving these things. It's because they go forever. They work forever. They're just really well-made vehicles, and the engines, do a good job. And so we have this. It's four-wheel drive. We have the F-150, and we recently, about 6 months ago, purchased the Silverado, and it's a four-wheel drive vehicle, and we use that again also to do other things, just like these other trucks do, is to haul hay. You just need to have a truck here. You need to be able to have a truck. You need to have a four-wheel drive vehicle here on the homestead. Our roads around here, I've talked about this a little bit. Our roads that we have on the homestead are really rocky. They're really, they're heavy terrain. And we have, in our county, about 2,500 square miles of dirt road. And it's just, you got to have a truck, in my opinion. You have to have a truck out here, but you also have to have 10-ply tires on your vehicle. If you don't have a truck, you just have an SUV, it's really highly recommended. People, when we came out here, we moved out here, people would say, hey, listen, if you don't have 10-ply tires on your vehicle, you really need to get them, because if you don't, you're going to be buying new tires. And I'm not kidding you, every so often, just the other day, I was driving down the road. I mean, you saw the video where I went to town. On my way back from that trip, there was a guy with an SUV broken down on the side of the road. You know, his tire was out. His tire was blown because he wasn't using 10-ply tires. I mean, it's just, you've got to do it. And they're constantly working on our roads, grading them and maintaining them, the county is, because every rainstorm, it tears them up even more. And so they have to be constantly maintained month after month on a rotating basis. And, you know, I kind of like that. I like that the fact is if the grid ever goes down, we're going to be inaccessible. I like that because I'm doing everything I can here for the most part to be self-sustaining. And I'm growing my own food. I'm saving my own seeds. There's just, if the world ends tomorrow, I can barter and trade with my neighbors to survive and get by. These trucks are just essential for us to, you know, work on this homestead. You know, back when we had livestock, and we are getting sheep again here soon, we had to go down the road, our road a little ways, and we'd pick up bales of hay, you know, big old round bales, and haul them back. And, you know, we can fit two of these, two giant round bales if we open up the tailgate on this F-150, and we can load this F-150 with 2 large round bales. You're not going to be able to do that in your sedan or your SUV, your Ford, you know, Explorer. You can't do that. So with this, it allows us to move hay. We can pull trailers. It's just something that's very convenient on a homestead. And there's a reason why farmers, you know, throughout the years have turned to pickup trucks, you know, to get their farm work done. You know, that was never apparent to me when I first, you know, thought about homesteading, you know. But now, having been out here and lived it a little bit, I see the value in having a pickup truck and having a 4x4 pickup truck and having a 4x4 pickup truck with 10-ply tires. It's just the reality of where you live out here. And so anyway, I want to do a video on our pickup trucks because this is just a really important aspect, I believe, in homesteading in a very rural area. And so our Silverado, our F-150, and our Toyota all are very valuable to us.
I just made up a lot of zucchini bread. We had some zucchini given to us. This time of year, zucchini is in season, and it grows really, really well around these parts. So people have so much extra that they just end up giving it away. So we got a lot of zucchini recently. Zach doesn't even grow zucchini in the garden because so many people have extra. So anyway, this is homegrown zucchini, just not from our garden. So I decided to make a lot of zucchini bread. I'm going to be taking some of this over to a friend who just had a baby. I'm making her dinner tonight, she and her family, and then the rest is going to go with us for the weekend. We're going to go visit our friends at Shalom Acres. They're the ones that Zach helped butcher a cow over the winter, and I think it was our first episode in season 3. So if you haven't watched that, go back and check that out. We're going to go visit them. They want to have us take a couple sheep home with us. They have a big herd, so they're going to give us a couple sheep, and they're hoping that these sheep are successful for us. We're going to try sheep again and see how it goes.
So we're loading the truck with some sheep. We're back at Shalom Acres, and Chris Haas, if you remember from season 3, episode 1, we helped him butcher his cow, and he heard about our sheep, incidents and how we gave up on sheep for the time being. He says, "Hey, listen, I want you. We'll try an experiment. I'll let you take a couple of wethers home, put them out on the pastures that you have and the paddocks that you have." And we'll see, based on what he does for his sheep, if we can get them to survive and do well. And if that's the case, we'll come back and we'll get some breeding pairs, and we'll start a sheep herd over again. And I really want to have sheep on our land. We have a good amount of pasture and a good amount of paddocks. It would just be a shame to waste it all. And so he shared with me some things that he does to keep his sheep healthy, and just go over those briefly if you would.
Okay. Yes. What we do, typically it's only in the wintertime, unless it's a birthing mom, but this is kind of the routine that we do in the wintertime. So we typically run out of grass and other items usually by mid to late December, and then we start feeding alfalfa pellets. And when we feed the alfalfa pellets, we also feed that in conjunction with hay. But the sheep really obviously enjoy the alfalfa pellets. So what we do on the alfalfa pellets is we put a little bit of apple cider vinegar. Kind of hard to tell me exactly how much, but we put enough on there so that way it actually gets the pellets just a little bit moist. So then that way, when you kind of mix it up, you can then put the diatomaceous earth on there, so DE. So it sticks, and then it allows the animals to fully ingest it. And then the only other piece that we put on there from a vitamin supplement is we put a little bit of kelp. And for every couple pounds of alfalfa, you're only putting a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons of kelp. So I know kelp is expensive, but the amount of vitamins and minerals that it has in there is just amazing. It really helps the health of our animals. The only other thing that we'll do is we'll take some of the garlic that we grew in the springtime, and we'll put some of that in there. Sheep aren't going to just naturally go towards the garlic, but if you mix it in with it and it has a little bit of apple cider flavor to it, when you mix it in there with it, you'll still probably have a few pieces left, but overall they will eat it, and that'll also improve their health. So that's all we do, and we do that regimen for at least 30 days, but typically if we're keeping the animals up and feeding them, so we'll do it for 45 to 60 most of the time.
And that's in the fall, right?
In the fall, yeah, fall and winter pretty much. Yes.
Okay. And that seems to be, for us, what was really giving us the problems fall and winter, usually all year round. But we're going to take these guys, and they're a different breed. They're a more hardy breed. They're a heritage breed sheep, and the St. Croix. And we're going to put them on our paddocks, and our paddocks are pretty parasite heavy. So I mean, it really took our Shropshire herd down to almost nothing, to a point where we got rid of them, like we said in previous videos. So we're going to see what we can do with these, and if we can make them survive the winter, come springtime, we're going to be back here at Shalom Acres to maybe purchase some sheep and start a new herd over, and get started with it. But we're loading them in the truck. This is an episode on trucks and tractors. And guys, if you're a farmer, if you're a homesteader, we know how valuable it is to have vehicles where you can transport whatever it is you need to transport: trailers, animals, any type of livestock, feeding materials. You got to have something that you can do that with, and an SUV sometimes just won't cut it. A car just absolutely won't cut it, and so got to have a truck.
Thanks for coming by, Zach. Good luck with the sheep. Hope you and your family have as much success as we have.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. All right, guys, we're heading back to the homestead. So there you go, trucks and tractors, a very beneficial part of our homestead. We are very blessed to have them. They make our workload so much easier and lighter. There's so many tasks and chores that we have to do on a regular basis that really benefits us to have these things, to use them. And so, hope you enjoyed the episode, Trucks and Tractors. I know a lot of people were asking about our tractor and what kind of trucks we have and all of that. So I hope this episode gave you a little bit of information that you wanted. So if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up on Facebook, like it, and share it with your friends and family on social media. Subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time on American Homestead. The deer herd is healthy. Oh boy.